All right, we are recording. What's going on, James? It's nice to have you on here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time. Like we just mentioned offline, you're super busy. You're on the road, so it looks like you took some time to stop driving in the rain and talk some fishing. So I appreciate it.
You bet.
Heck yeah, man. So you're headed up to the Ozarks. You're doing some fun fishing. You got a derby coming up. What's on the schedule for you?
Well, I might slide in and fish a BFL up there Sunday, but the better Toyota Series events happening at Dardanelle, and I'll leave Sunday night for Dardanelle, Russellville, Arkansas, Fish Lake, Dardanelle on Arkansas River.
Nice. Should be a blast. Well, good luck in that. We'll be looking out for you, see how you do. But
thanks.
Yeah. So my first question I like to ask everybody that comes on the show is first and foremost, like, how did you get into fishing? And I know it's interesting for you because I understand you were in the Army prior to fishing. So did your fishing career start prior to getting the military, or did you? How was that timeline like back into the tournament scene afterward?
I been fishing all my life, and matter of fact, I joined the Army due to fishing, to the fact that I couldn't fish hardly any at all. I couldn't rub two nickels together, and I had to get out of here. And the Army was my way out of my situation. You know, as a recently graduated high school person. You know, I had jobs that really didn't pay much. You know, I got my FCC license to be a DJ on the radios, on the radio, and found out halfway through school that DJs didn't make very good money at all. And just got fed up with it. I couldn't fish like I wanted to fish. I couldn't afford a boat. My dad and I fished buddy tournaments. You know, I fished the Redmans as then they were draw and draw. So, I got fed up with it, and I joined the Army and I left.
So what was it like coming back, getting out of the Army and then getting back into the tournament scene?
Well, even in the Army, I still fished. I did end up buying an old Monarch McFast 15. It had a Johnson 85 horse Johnson Javelin engine on it, a real piece of crap, junk, 12 volt motor guide trolling motor with a prop on it. I had 2 dead batteries at all time. I mean, I had a really big piece of crap, but I still fished. And a few years in the Army, I bought my dad's boat. It was a 179 Kingfisher, and I fished military bass anglers. They had a great district up there at Fort Drum, New York, where I was at, and met some great people up there and fished. And I never quit fishing. Even the almost 9 years I was in the Army, I was always fishing and still fishing some tournaments here and there. But it's the same desire to be, to fish at the highest level and fish against the guys that, the Larry Nixons, the Kevin Van Dams, the Paul Eliases, the Tommy Biffles, and those guys, and Mark Davises. I wanted to be like them guys.
Yeah.
And that, I don't know if that's the case nowadays. Growing up with kids fishing, they may be more into YouTubing and less into tournament fishing. I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting topic to look into. I think you make a great point though with the YouTube. You definitely see that becoming bigger. Each season that we go through, and you see more and more YouTube channels popping up here and there. But I have seen firsthand a lot of the younger generation taking the tournaments very seriously, and you even see some young high school kids hopping in as co-anglers on BFLs and different things along those lines, which is a pretty cool sight to see because kids are taking it serious, and that's like you talk to them like that's the route that they want to take. So I think there's still some hope that a lot of kids are still trying to get into the tournament scene, but that's pretty cool. I'm sure
co-angler side of things. I talk to 10 to 15 high school and college teams every year, and I encourage all of them, if you want to learn a lot about bass fishing, YouTube's great. But if you want hands-on, go sign up at the BFLs as a co-angler. Go sign up at a normal or any Pro-Am format that you might have in your region and fish inexpensive that way. Fish on somebody else's dime. Throw them some gas money. You don't have a boat payment. You don't even have to have a tow vehicle, just a vehicle that you can throw your rods and reels and tackle box in. Get some really good rain gear and go fish with people. That is your best way to learn.
Yeah, no, 100%. I joined a few BFLs and Fed events up here in New York myself this year. Never had done them before, and I just got out of college a year ago. And it hasn't been something that I've really looked into because I wasn't huge into tournament fishing. But each year, with the more time I'm getting, I've been able to hop in a few. And I remember my first BFL I did out on Cayuga here in New York, and I had a couple people say, good luck, like hope you win. But really, the reason for joining isn't to go out and win. Like I think if you're trying to, obviously, winning money and winning is great. But I think as a co-angler, your goal going into an event, if your goal is to strictly make money and win, you're going into it for the wrong reasons. Like you just mentioned, you go into it with an open mind, trying to learn from who you're paired with, learn from your experience that you have. And I have said it before. It's like I'd rather get a boater who's very good and is going to clean house in front of me, leaving me no fish, so I can just watch how he makes decisions, how he fishes, and learn from him, than get somebody who I can't learn anything from, but I'm going to blast him.
You bet. And let me take that one step further. Sorry, one step further. Sign up as a marshal on the FLW Tour. Sign up as a marshal on the Bass Elites. If you really got time, you want to, come and be a Major League Fishing boat official. Because when you marshal an event, you actually get to sit there. You're focused on watching. You're not thinking about catching fish. You're not going through the motions of casting and the thought process. You're really watching and learning everything that they move, every move they make, every mumble under their breath. You sit there and you learn. I mean, I even marshaled 2013. I marshaled 4 Bass Elites while I fished the FLW Tour as a pro. I mean, you want to gain confidence and learn. That costs like $150. I mean, I charge $1,100 a day if I'm going to take you fishing, or you can pay $150 and maybe draw me, at a tournament. I mean, let's put the dollars and cents behind all this.
No, 100%. Yeah, that was one thing that I looked into doing for the elites this year because they had their Northern Swing 3 tournaments in New York. And it was unfortunate that the river for you guys didn't happen because that was another one I was looking forward to as well. Strategy-wise was what I was really curious about when it comes to the river for the Major League Fishing format. I was really looking forward to that. It's a bummer that you guys couldn't come up, but I hope, this coming season, hopefully that can get put back on the schedule. I don't know. Has the schedule been announced for 2021?
No, hopefully by the end of the month, I hope.
That'll be good. Yeah, well, I hope it's on for you guys. That'll be a lot of fun to get back up. I'm sure a bunch of you guys haven't been up in the Northeast in a while. So,
hey, I really enjoy smallmouth fishing.
Do you have like a favorite body of water that you kind of?
Yes, right now Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin.
that looked like watching that event, watching not just the caliber, but also just the sheer numbers with the average weight of fish that was caught. That was a really, really fun event to watch. And
right.
Yeah, and then to have the FLW championship followed up on there, I think that was something that really, I think Sturgeon Bay was on notice, but I don't think it was given the respect that it deserved in recent years.
Right.
And but you guys you and FLW coming and fishing Sturgeon Bay, I think really put that place on the map.
The Bass Elites got blown completely out the last time they were there. And I think that they had 3 or 4 straight days of wind that cost them from even being able to go fish. And that did not help. That did not help Sturgeon Bay show itself off.
No. It's tough on those big bodies of water when you deal with the wind, especially here in the Great Lakes. And you see it at the St. Lawrence River with guys that want to go to Lake Ontario but can't just because the wind. It just those bodies of water, it's an ocean. those days get moving. So, but One thing I wanted to ask you, because I know you're a Buzzbait guy. That's what I'm sure you get, millions of questions every day about Buzzbaits. And I'm not going to pepper you with Buzzbait questions, but I am curious though. So guys, when they're frogging, right? So or you're frogging, you're throwing a top water, you have a follow-up bait, correct? When you're throwing a Buzzbait, and I've never heard this talked about. When you're throwing a Buzzbait and you get blown up on, but you miss them, are you throwing that Buzzbait right back in there, or do you have something on deck that you're throwing that's different if you miss that bite?
Most of the time, I'll throw the Buzzbait back in there.
Okay.
But no, my follow-up bait is a 5/16 ounce or 7/16 ounce Jewel Special Ops Survivor Series brown and purple jig. So with the throw that jig right back in on top of them. They're a lot of times they're worked up, they're ready to eat. But in all the years that I've been throwing a Buzzbait, it's really doesn't happen very often, and it never. I can count the 3 times in my entire life that I've caught a follow-up fish with a plopper after a plopper blow up. They never come back. I remember one time at Lake Ozarks a few years ago, I missed a big one. Just smokes my plopper. Doesn't eat it completely. He doesn't even pull it down. Just big old boil behind it. I picked up a brown jig. I flipped it up there, and I caught that fish. It was over 4 pounds. That is one of 3 bass that I could tell you that I've ever caught following up on a plopper. Buzzbait, you catch a few more on a Buzzbait for whatever reason. I don't know. But usually you're just better off throwing your Buzzbait right back up there real quick.
Interesting. So what is there a big difference when it comes to when to throw a Buzzbait and when to throw a plopper? I'm sure probably grass might be a big factor, but in your opinion, what would be your determining factors on which one to pick?
Most of the time, trial and error, because some days you'll just bite a Buzzbait better or bite a plopper better. But most of the time, it's due to how rough the water is and how much stain there is in the water. On a real super windy day, the plopper is your better bite. It's got a bigger drawing factor to it than any other bait. When it's slick, I go with the smaller Buzzbait, less subtle, or a more subtle sound and stuff like that. So I let the water temperature and the water clarity and how much the wind's blowing to determine how loud I want my bait to be.
Interesting. So, okay. Yeah, for some reason for me, in my head, the plopper was never something I threw when it's a windier day. Usually for me, windier conditions, I'm throwing like a spook. I don't know, for me, for some reason, with the plopper, I always have a hard time keeping that plop consistent when it's in wavier conditions. I don't know.
Yeah. When it's that bad, I can agree with you on that. But you can slow that plopper down a little bit. Hold your rod. I use, Cashin made a plopping rod for me. It's 7 foot 8 inches long, and most people are like, hell, why do you need a plop? Why do you need a rod that big? It's because you want to manipulate that no stretch braid, and that bait can be manipulated around corners, long cast in clear water conditions, and you can hold your line up and manipulate that bait to make it work right. And a lot of people don't think about that, but that's, coupled with a, 50 or 65 pound maximum braid, it's deadly. I mean, my hookup ratio's phenomenal. Same way on a horny toad. People are like, I can't catch them on a horny toad. They'll bite it, but I can't. I just can't hook them. It's because everybody's reaction is wrong. Your Buzzbait, your plopper, and your toadfish and frogfish are all about how you react to that bite. So if you got a limber rod, you're in trouble. If you're using something other than braid, you're in trouble. If you got too short of a rod, you're in trouble. If you got a slow reel, you're in trouble. So there's a lot to having success with those baits, and it's your equipment.
Good to know. Yeah, that's 7 foot 8. So when you say, for those listening, for when you say you're manipulating, you're meaning in a directional, using that rod tip to therefore control which trail that your plopper's taking.
That's right, or holding the rod up so that bait is staying where it needs, up the nose up a little bit in rougher water conditions.
Oh, okay.
All right, or working around the bush with a buzzer. I throw a buzz bait on my plopping rod too. So
that could be where I'm going wrong then. If my plopper's not doing too well in some choppier conditions, get a longer rod, or maybe my tip's not up high enough.
Yeah.
Something I can look into.
At least a 7.6, at least a 7.6. So
okay, good to know.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming the buzzbait is your favorite way to fish. Am I wrong?
Yes, I love throwing a buzzbait. I love throwing a buzzbait. I love throwing a plopper. I love throwing a frog and toad. But buzzbait, Tackle HD. I sit down. They're my title sponsor. A few months into the deal, they're like, if you could have one bait with your name on it and you had the complete control of design, what would that bait be? Before he could say what would, I said buzzbait. And in a matter of 90 days, they had the buzzbait the way I wanted it.
That's pretty sweet. Yeah, I've heard you talk numerous times on your social medias about it, and it's actually, I ordered a few of them last night when we were chatting over social media, and I was like, I do need to pick up some buzzbaits, so I did order a few Tackle HD, and I'm excited to try those out. But so it seems like topwater definitely dominates your passion for fishing, but take that out of the picture. What is your favorite go-to beyond just a buzzbait or a plopper?
I love pitching a jig around.
Okay.
I really do. So
yeah,
pitching a little jig around, and I can't spoon and boat docks. You can't do that all over the country, but I've done it a lot of places all over the country, from here to Lanier to some other lakes in Tennessee. Center Hill. I enjoy doing that technique too. So,
was that Lanier that you did? Was it the Wired to Fish video that recently just came out? You're pitching boat docks with a 1 ounce or a 2 ounce spoon?
Yeah, I was doing that with a 1 ounce ounce version of the worldwide spoon. Yes, and Jason Sealock and I went out and we pulled up, and he's like, "Man, we need to get one good fish catch. Have you got time to go out?" And I asked him if he had time to go out. Actually, he said, "Yeah, I had time." He's on family vacation. I said, "Let's go out here and see if we can't catch one real quick." And we went out there, fished a couple docks, got to like this third dock, and I flipped in there. I said, "Fine," I got him. It wasn't really super good, but yeah, we were pitching worldwide spoons into the boat dock slips, and this one was way back there. I mean, hell, I had to get up there and get the sucker over a rail because I didn't want to hurt him or break him off.
Yeah. I'm not sure a fish would like a 1 ounce spoon in its mouth.
Right.
That's awesome. Yeah, I watched that video. That was I enjoyed learning with that one. That was pretty good. But so I don't want to keep you too much longer. I know you're on the road. You're trying to get going. So I'm going to leave you with this question. The last question I like to ask everybody. It's plain and simple, and I'm very curious to hear your answer because I'm going to take Gerald Swindle out of the picture because I know he's your buddy, so you can't say Gerald Swindle.
Okay.
But if you had to choose 3 people to sit down, have a beer and a steak with, to pick their brain, who would you invite and why? They could be past, present. They don't have to be fishing industry. Whose brain would you want to pick?
Well, always things like that when you talk about picking somebody's brain. Always Rick Clun. You got to have the Zen's master in there. I mean, Rick Clun for sure. I want to pick Jacob Wheeler's brain and things. I want to learn from that guy. He's so gifted. The guy never has a bad day. And another guy that is really an excellent fisherman, and he keeps it really, really simple, is Andy Morgan.
Okay.
But between Andy Morgan and Jason Christie, they keep it really simple. I know you can open up Andy Morgan's rod locker in his boxes in his boat. He's kind of like my team partner, Robbie Dotson. You open it up and like, Robbie, did you forget all your rods and reels and your tackle? He's got a Walmart sack as a tackle box and 4 rods in there ready to go. And he fished the FLW tour that way. Andy Morgan's the same way. He fishes the way he fishes, and he catches bass all over the country. He's that good. He's that confident.
Sticking to his confidence baits and rolling with it.
Yep.
It makes sense. That's awesome. I like those 3 answers. I appreciate you taking the time. Like I said, I don't want to keep you too long. But I wish you safe travels. And like I said, we'll keep up with you and how you're doing in the tournaments. And good luck. Go smash them.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on your podcast.
Of course. Thank you, James. I appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
Take care.
All right. Bye. All right, guys. I know that was really quick. It was only a 20-minute podcast, but James is on the road. He's very busy in the coming months. He wanted to get on here as well. So I wanted to get him on here for a little bit. Hope you guys enjoyed the short time that we had him. Like he said, he's on the road for tournaments, and those guys are so busy. So we took the time that we could to get him on here, talk to him, ask him a few different questions. Hopefully we get him back on down the road so we can get some more time where he's relaxed, not on the road, and we can chat a little bit more about a bunch of different stuff. So hope you guys enjoyed it. I did not get a chance to shout out any sponsors in the intro. This was a quick podcast, like I mentioned. Didn't want to keep James waiting. Wanted to get the questions in, get talking to him, learn his story. So huge shout out to Douglas Outdoors and Queen Tackle for your guys' support. Really does mean a lot to me. Today I was throwing the Douglas, the X Matrix, the DXC 745F, which is actually my flipping stick, but I've actually been playing around with it, and I've been throwing some of my swim jigs on there. I usually use the 744, but I wanted to try the 745 a little bit, and it actually worked pretty well to the point where I was skipping docks with the swim jig, and essentially skipped like a dream. The only difference with this one is when I hooked up, I had a lot more horsepower. I had a lot more backbone to drag those fish out from under the docks. So it looks like I will be using a 745 from now on. I think I'm going to try to change rods and try the 765 just to see how that affects my hookups, my hook set, and see what that does for the performance of the swim jig. So going to give that a little bit more experimentation, but let's throw in the Queen Tackle half-ounce swim jig. If you guys want, go down in the description below. You can take that code, SearsAngler20. Go to Queen Tackle, buy yourself some high-quality premium tungsten swim jigs, football jigs, flipping jigs, hammerhead jigs. And then you can slap a good old switchblade on the front of that swim jig and make it a chatterbait. So head on over, use that code if you'd like. Save yourself some money on some high-quality stuff. Thank you guys again for watching and listening. Like I said, I know it's a quick one, but I do appreciate you guys tuning in. And we'll see you guys on Friday.